Welcome to a wonderful episode of Project Next. I'm Sarah Blessing. I'm with the amazing, spectacular Suzanna Lee Jacobson. I love her so much. Suzanna is an expert on helping kids that have trauma because they've been impacted by their parents with addiction and incarceration. And their home life has been very rough, and they need some help to recover, to get out in the world, to not be traumatized from it. And I have not found a person that knows more on what works to help these precious children to recover, to thrive, to get out in the world. She has a nonprofit called Karith Family Recovery that her parents started, and she is now running. And she puts on free summer camp for kids impacted by this. And the camp really focuses on drama and music and acting out emotions that these children have suppressed, have kept inside them for survival. And she's helping them be other characters to learn the emotions, and then the children are able to have these emotions for themselves. It's really beautiful. She's very up to date on what works the most. So if you are watching, if you are listening, and you have somebody in your life that has been negatively impacted by addiction, and you have children involved, we are making this episode to help you. What kind of things can you do to help these children? They are our future. So Suzanna, thank you so much for joining me. How are you today, my beautiful friend?
I'm so excited to be here. I knew today was coming, and I am delighted beyond all things. So very happy to be here.
You are such a wonderful human, and you also are a very playful and fun person. And I was saying before we went live that I just want to hang out with you and go do something fun. Every time I meet you, you're dressed up in some character. The first time I met you, you came up to me in fairy ears and the most beautiful dress. And I'm like, who is this person talking to me about kids? It was just, and then you came up to me again at the Women's March, and you were in a suffragette outfit. And I'm like, here she is again. And so anyway, you are an incredible human. You're a delight in person, and what you do for our community in Southern Indiana is so beautiful. You have even helped kids that my son is friends with that I love. And I didn't know that. I knew what you were doing. I was watching what you do. And then all of a sudden I saw it. I saw some of the kids that you help, and my heart, without me even knowing it, you have been helping kids in my community. Wow. So
but I think that gets to the first point, because when we're talking about substance addiction, when we're talking about trauma in difficult places and families that are in complicated places, I think our ratio is that one person who is struggling is going to actively affect 8 to 9 individuals in their circle. So it's really hard to not know somebody who's in a difficult spot or a difficult place. It's just part of the stigma and the difficulty that's in society right now. So when we break apart that stigma, that's more that we get to talk about.
Addiction has really hit our country hard for a long time, for many, many years, but it's gotten worse because the drugs that people get are more addicting. They're more addicting. They're easier to get. And it's so easy to completely mess up someone's life. If they have children, it's messing up their life. And then our country solves this problem by arresting the people that are addicted, throwing them in jail, and leaving their kids. The kids. And so a lot of times grandparents are taking this up. We have foster care, and then we've got traumatized children, right? Can you tell us some of the numbers? How many people, how many children are there? Maybe if you know Indiana or Kentucky or nationwide.
No, it's really great questions. And I feel like if we just place our lines just on incarceration, just as our stepping stone there, because I think that's actual numbers to work with. So a couple of years ago, we were working with the number that on a national average, 1 out of 28 children in our society are experiencing parental incarceration from 0
1 out of 28 kids in the country, or a parent is in jail because of drugs.
Now, just for the fun of it, because I'm homeschooler and I love playing little games, like where would you place on a per capita like Kentucky or Indiana?
I don't know. I'm not holding up a bunch of hopes for these two states. I'm gonna say we're higher
So
than
if we're
average.
talking about ratios, like the amount, like places like Texas obviously are going to have a much stronger number base, but on a per capita level, Kentucky leads the country in number one, and Indiana is number two. So when you look at it, the way I like to describe it is like, so if 1 out of 28, that's the average size of a classroom in the United States. So that usually means there's one child that has a secret, a story that they're not telling. For the state of Indiana and Kentucky, that's almost like getting three children in every single classroom that is actively being affected by the decisions by the adults in their lives. That's just incarceration. And then when you talk about substance addiction, both the known and the unknown, we get to almost tripled numbers of that of young people who are actively experiencing these things.
So that's every time you tell me these numbers, it's always higher than I think it's going to be. Um, it's horrifying. These children, we don't have in Indiana, I know especially, we don't have adequate programs to help their mental health. I know that there are some things. There are some things out there. I also believe our state is trying to cut as much social services as they can right now. So I would imagine if we do have stuff, it's possibly being cut. We're not doing enough. And if we don't put the money and the work in to help these children now, they're going to repeat the mistakes of their parents if we don't help them. So it's like wise to invest in them because it would make our community safer, and also it's the moral thing to do. Obviously we should help children, but it makes the whole community safer. It keeps people out of jail. It keeps giving them jobs so that they can pay taxes. So we have reason to help. We're not helping enough in this state. And you can see we're not helping enough with addiction if we're one of the worst per capita, right? So your family stepped in and has been doing this Karith Family Recovery. It had another name for a while. What was the other name?
Yeah, so back in 2005, I can't believe it. We were actually like hit our 21st anniversary this year. So my parents founded the organization under the name Christian Formation Ministries. About 2 years ago, we had a rebranding to Karith Family Recovery. And a lot of it was just like our core is still the same, but we have to acknowledge that I think even 20 years ago, the faith-based community was a lot more of a talking point, a space that like was a place of safety. But we actually were starting to find that there's a stigma around faith-based supports. And just to let people know, it's just like we're not here to tell you what to do or what to believe.
You're
Like,
not preaching, you need to be this religion. You're not doing
well,
any of that.
and I think it's important to know it's just like if I'm here to make sure you're living your best life, like it's through my personal experience and my relationship that's drawing me to these good things. And I feel like everything has to be relationship based, and that also includes faith. So we wanted to remove that stigma point from us and start fighting the good fight of like, we're just here to take care of you. We're here to give you the best tools possible. We're not trying to indoctrinate you into something that you may or may not be ready for.
I cannot believe how many of Project Next shows have been about religion. I didn't see that coming when I started this with Tim Peck a little over a year ago. But we really try to differentiate between what is a healthy religion and what is one that tries to indoctrinate children, like LifeWise Academy and Christian Nationalism and Turning Point USA. Those are not helpful and are very indoctrinating. And then there's all these wonderful people. I've had so many pastors and priests on the show that are, fighting social justice issues and things. So it is a complex issue when it comes to religion. So I understand the name change. And I also understand that you can't just blindly follow someone because they say they're a pastor or whatever. You have to get to know the person in the organization and see, do they let you question things? Do they let you be you? So I totally get that. And I think that was a wise choice. And I've been around you, quite a bit and never felt you're definitely not doing any indoctrinating.
But it's also willing and available. Like, if there's a young person that is interested in what we do, or if there's an adult that's interested in what we do, you know, do the reach out. Like, we'll talk to the family, talk to the parents, the guardians, like, hey, is this something you feel comfortable with? Should we not?
So you're not doing anything privately with just the kids?
No, it's just like everything's very out in the open. Like, and again, it's relationship based. Like, if you're information based, your goal is to be information focused. If it's relationship based, that means that I'm going to do everything I can to avoid a toxic relationship with you, which also means introducing my beliefs and my faith in a mutually safe um, environment that also makes it supportive for people who have experienced religious trauma and have had difficulties with like church-based programs. So
yeah,
we're open and available to everyone. And I always just get to tell people, come play with me and let's just change the world through play.
Yeah. So change the world through play is really genius. And this is why I'm hoping people that are listening, some of them have, children that they're trying to help. And interacting play, using play doesn't seem like something that would work. You'd think they just need therapy, they need intense, tell me about your trauma, type stuff. And I'm sure that is important also. Like therapy would be a good part, but I would imagine there needs to be a bridge. There needs to be an opening of trust. When we think about these children that have, maybe they're really little, maybe their earliest memories are of a parent being an addict, and they're not getting the adequate food, they're not getting adequate love in their needs. And it doesn't mean that that parent is a terrible person. It means that they're suffering from addiction. And so you take a child that's in survival mode, that doesn't show their true emotions because they have a shield of protection up. They're just trying to get food. If they have any younger siblings around, maybe they're trying to take care of them, so they're being the adult in the household. Maybe there's some sort of abuse situation going on, like just all kinds of the worst that we don't even really want to admit happens to children. We want to just blindly think all kids are loved and everything's fine. But we're in the real world, and you're saying this is happening to quite a few kids across the country. So my question is, play, why does it work? And then can you give us some examples of the type of play that works for people that might need this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think the first baseline is for many of us when something tragic happens, when that light bulb goes off and your brain flips into emergency mode. Like, the first thought is not always going to be like, okay, let's go down and play a board game together or something like that. Our baseline is like, how do we get back to that place of safety? So I think that's always like a big question that I think overall in recovery and prevention community, we have to have a lot more conversations about is, are we trying to introduce creative problem solving before introducing safety and creative solutions and creative play?
So you're saying we need to make sure the kid is safe.
Absolutely. That's
so
number
the
one.
Kid has to be in a safe living situation before you can go to the next step.
So like
helping them.
Absolutely. So
because they're going to be still stuck in survival mode. They're not safe.
Yeah. And sometimes it's very minute, tiny things. You have a young child that's just transitioned. Are there items still in garbage bags, or have you moved them to a bookshelf or a bureau, or even just like plastic cases so they're all protected and safe? We actually had to do that a month ago with a young person that we were helping out. Are they getting their 3 meals a day? Are you listening to, like, have they been in an environment where it's difficult to get food, or there's a very different type of food? Are we trying to force family culture onto a young person before we establish safety? So everything has to get that brain who's in emergency mode to like come back to a place where they're safe and accepted.
So you're getting new children that want to be involved in the summer camp, and your step one is, are they safe? And so you're actually like helping and assisting if you see areas in need. That's
Yes.
okay. So that makes
And,
sense. Is their
and
home
like,
life safe?
yeah, so we're checking to see if their home life is safe, but also like when they're hanging out with us at the summer camp program, are we covering all their basic needs? Like sometimes we'll have a kid come in for their very first day of camp and they're not used to eating 3 times a day
So
or
are
getting,
they not hungry all 3 times?
they're just shocked that they're going to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner and get snacks. Having their own bed. Like sometimes you don't even think about the benefit, even just for like 4 nights, 5 nights, like the benefit of having your own bed space. You don't have to share with anybody else. Are their clothes clean? Like, do we have to make a run to a local store and make sure that they have all of their hygiene products and all of their, did someone come to camp with a pair of slides that are just wrapped up in electrical tape and they're just hoping to do their
So
best?
I guess you're having in your budget extra money to provide for whatever comes up. You're looking
Whatever
at each
comes up.
individual kid. This kid needs shoes, this kid needs toothpaste, this kid needs, a sleeping bag or whatever, and you're going out and getting somebody's going out and getting the items.
When we're writing a grant, like it's one of those like very minute lines when you think about the programming, but it's those little tiny details that can make the difference between a kid's experience, like positive towards the, well, I was just ignored and not paid attention to at all. So
I really
that
like you're just so good at you're living it. You go to these
yeah.
camps, you hang around all of these kids. You've been doing this for years and years and years, so we've got to check and make sure these things. Yeah, it's really beautiful and it makes sense. But when you're talking about it as such a big problem, you're bringing it down to like each
Mm-hmm.
individual kid and what they need. And I think that's one of the big reasons why I consider you such an expert in this field. You're living it. You're doing this camp. You're running these camps. So,
I'm
okay.
one of
So
the
let's say
kids,
they have their basic things. So make sure if you have a child that you know that is impacted by addiction, make sure they're safe, make sure they have food. Okay, so we've done all this. They're safe. And then what's the next step?
well, for camp, usually we're moving right into like, okay, we're going to do what we call soft play. And that's something that I highly encourage any parent, guardian who might be in that circumstance. Like, transitions are really, really complicated. And once you're out of emergency mode, your body and your mind is actually going to be in a space where it's going to be really hard to intake new information because, it's just like going on a jog, like, or running or having an exercise day.
So it's so much new stuff that they're they're a little overwhelmed with it.
Yeah. So like our Monday through Tuesday at the summer camp program is intentionally a little lower and slower. I always tell people when they come hang out with us, like there's Sesame Street style camps where, it's every 30 seconds, there's a new part of the program. We're moving on to the next new thing. This is obviously not TikTok. We're just like, scrolling and finding the next thing that fascinates us. Ironically, a couple of years ago, I instantly said we're a Fred Rogers camp. And this was even before our collaboration with the Fred Rogers Institute, because
which is amazing.
And intentionally going lower and slower and calming our bodies down and, taking the time. So every single young person that's with us has an opportunity to keep up with whatever programming is happening. Because with young people, we could be dealing with mindfulness issues, traumatic issues, mental concerns. Like, if you have somebody who maybe, we've had situations where we've had campers come in with a certain diagnosis that they're taking medication for. There could also be an opportunity for a misdiagnosis within that, where I'd be like, oh yeah, you're being straightened for like, for anxiety, but there might be also like a little concern of bipolar we might have to be on the lookout for as well, and trying to find ways to gently nudge parents and guardians to that conversation as camp continues. That can be a lot. So making camp work for everyone is really, really critical for us. But that first day too, we're automatically introducing them to what we call our neighborhood of make-believe, because you got 3 hours to get yourself situated. but then you're instantly in gameplay. You're automatically in the story that we have created justly just for you.
I would imagine, I'm just imagining being a child impacted. I'm putting myself in their shoes and thinking, adjusting, figuring it out. You're given some time. You sit down that first time, you're like, close your eyes, imagine this. You're a different person. I could imagine feeling lighter and feeling free in a way that if they can do it, if they can take themselves to another magical place, which we see. I have 7-year-old twins. They're playing pretend all the time, and they have each other, so they play. So I see how much joy it brings them. I would imagine that it just feels really good, like immediately.
And then just imagine what happens when you have that adult who's placing themselves in a place of safety, but then they're playing the game with you, whatever that game is. And I think that's something I think for us as adults, especially when we're trying to solve the problems, most of the things that I'm working for, I'm not trying to push some type of idea of what's going to make things better, because most of these young people and even adults will tell you the secret of, or like at least the feedback of what they believe is, that Sunday school answer. I think it's just like, okay, so you say this and then you respond to this. We're not looking for that. We're looking for what authentically is coming from you. So like, I step on stage and I'm suddenly a Jedi, and I'm transformed from Mama Z, the camp director, to Master Zana, the Jedi master over our Jedi temple. And now I have like different type of wisdom and knowledge base that I'm going to drop on you as a Jedi that I'm totally not going to give you as my camp director self. So it's
But
forcing
it's
the.
gonna be it's gonna be wisdom that you're saying that could
Mhm.
help them in their life.
Absolutely. So, for example, like just bringing up one of these examples, we had a young man who had a complicated background and difficulty, like born addicted to substances, raised by a grandparent. Mom is out of the picture absolutely and completely. Not a lot of family communication at all. And he's a middle schooler. He is angry. He is frustrated. He does not know what to do with all this internal frustration. As Mama Z, and let's just face it, I am a cis white woman. So hearing from a middle aged girl that looks like should be in a Shirley Temple music video may not be the person that a young person wants to listen to, especially a young man who is struggling with his identity. But as Master Zana, we were doing Jedi fighting. We were like training them to use lightsabers. Starts getting frustrated, and I was just like, "Calm yourself, my young friend." And we did the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise, and it was a moment of reflection for him, and he was able to bring himself down. And it was the first time in 4 years that young man was able to accept that mindfulness technique that every therapist professionally trained would probably introduce to, but because it was in a moment of play, he was able to accept it.
That makes a lot of sense. I don't think I've quite understood that before. The gift of changing who you are, giving the advice a different way. Because I would imagine most kids, I taught fifth grade for 18 years, and I had some kids that would go to therapists for counseling, had some trauma. Sometimes the parents would be in jail and things like that. So I've seen it, and I've seen therapy not work. Like I'll have case conferences and I'll talk to the therapist, and they're like, well, the therapist doesn't really tell me, the kid doesn't tell me anything, because they don't trust that setting, that person, that moment. And so what you're saying really makes sense to me as a teacher. I would try to take on that role as much as I could because I got to spend so much time with these kids. And so
Mhm.
I would try to give out the advice, and I know I did help some, but it just makes a lot of sense the way you're explaining it. And that's, let's say you're a grandparent and you've had to take on your grandchildren and they're struggling emotionally. Just doing some sort of play where all of a sudden you're a different person and you're acting it out with them, and then you give the advice, is a really good tip. It's
Mhm.
something that we all can do. We all can do that. Teach them mindfulness, teach them how to calm down. I'm doing that with my 7-year-olds right now, teaching them mindfulness and calming down. And it's hard. So I think I'm gonna try it with them. I'm gonna act like somebody cooler than me and see if it helps speed it up, you know?
But also at the same time, one of my favorite techniques I love doing, and we did this a couple of years ago, it's like every child has a hero's journey. Every adult has a hero's journey. And sometimes they need to know that they have what they have within them to be the rescuer, to be the one that is the help out. So a couple of years ago, for one of our themes, we did a pirate story, and we based it all on somewhat of a toxic family traits. Like we had one pirate captain that was the scapegoat, and we had one that was the golden child, and we had the lost child and the clown, and we had an enabling parent, but we also had the addictive parent who was out of the picture. And it was really interesting to see which captain all of the kids kind of got excited about and in a sense swore allegiance to or helped out. So out of the
Oh no, I lost you. Oh, there you go. What'd you say?
Well, I mean, I was just going to say, so if you had to choose between a golden child captain or a scapegoat captain or a clown or a lost child, which one would you choose to swear your allegiance to or assist with?
I don't know. Whichever one seemed like the most capable to run the ship.
They chose the scapegoat, the angry, frustrated, difficult captain, actually. And it was because I found out over time they wanted to help rescue. They wanted to
Oh, wow.
struggling. So we had a situation where I actually have it here somewhere. We broke our compass, like in a moment of anger and frustration. The pirate captain broke a compass that was connected to our Jim Hawkins character's father figure or his past or his history, and it had to make it up to him somehow. So the kids were gathered around my character, because this was me being the bad guy that year, and they're like, "You can write a letter, you can apologize, write things this way." And I actually had a small group of campers who were helping me write letters and send them to our Jim Hawkins character and see if they can help repair the relationship between the two of us.
That makes so much sense. That's so great. So they were teaching you what you had been teaching them.
Yeah, and that we were mirroring it and reflecting it out. So I
They're
started
acting out
intentionally,
the proper ways to deal with these types of problems. Yeah, that's incredible.
yeah,
I've got a picture that I want to show everybody
my
of some of the
babies.
kids that go to this camp, the Karith Family Recovery summer camps. If somebody is listening and they do live in like Southern Indiana, how could they apply to get their children or grandchildren into this camp?
Absolutely. Well, we're going to be opening up applications actually coming up in the next little bit here. So we believe that incarceration is a very heavy cost. So we try not to have any of our families pay that cost again. So this is our gift to the community as much as humanly possible. What I can also do, if there's any listeners, we can give you a special code that says like Project Next 2026, and that would just be like their code base to make sure we know where you're coming from or what your story is. It is a little first come, first serve, because we only have something like 180 slots that we can give away right now. Now, if anyone
The
wants
goal is keep growing this nonprofit so that you can have more of these camps, because we know there are more children that would like to come to this camp than are able to.
one of the most difficult things I have to do every single year is I receive a um, package of names, and it's over 4,000 names in our community that can
Oh,
actually
wow.
go to the camp. And those are just the ones that we know. When you start putting in references from CASA community members, judgeships, amazing collaborations like Savannah Smiles, or even outreaches like this, you know, trying to make those 180 spaces stretch can be really, really complicated.
Okay. So yeah, that is heartbreaking. And like I'm seeing how much you're helping the community and how much you help these kids. And some of these kids come back every year. You'll see them as little, like they'll come little in elementary school and you'll see them grow. And some of these kids transition into counselors. Is that correct?
That's one of the best parts of it. So around age 14, 15, we're going to kind of keep an eye on people, but we'll have what we call the leadership camp program. So you can get nominated to suddenly become staff, which is a very I enjoy it because I get phone calls from guardians being like, hey, my child came back and they are making their bed and they're doing dishes. What did you do to my child over the course of the summer? It's just like, it's just routine. We got it going, but we're learning about self-care, community care. We're continuing to level up the mindfulness and the trauma support that's age appropriate. Like, there are some things we probably won't share with an 8-year-old that's going to be appropriate for a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old, because their situations sometimes drastically transform and change too. Also at the same time. So
it's really, I attended, I came and watched like a skit one time. I think it was last summer, 2024
yes.
summer. And we did a little show, and I remember we had to turn off the air conditioning to do the sound.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like 1,000 degrees in there. So
it was hot.
We lost like a pound each in sweat, I think, that day. But that was fun. It was really fun to come and see the camp and see the kids and see you guys perform. It was really beautiful. And it reminded me of like the few times I've been to camp. Like I went to 6th grade camp and had a lot of fun. It reminded me of just a really beautiful kid experience with great adults and teenagers helping to run it. It's just such a beautiful thing that I think we all need to hear about right now, because the world is slightly dark. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but things are a little rough out there right now. And so to just see you doing this beautiful thing, I hope it gives everybody hope. So if you want to help, okay, let's say that you're watching from not Indiana and you're like, wow, Suzanna's running this program. She's helping these kids. I'd love to sponsor a kid. I know you mentioned on our show before, sometimes it's a kid's, like it'll be their birthday or close to their birthday and you'll do a birthday celebration for them. And sometimes it's the first time they've ever had a birthday party.
Wednesday is always the best day of camp because Wednesday is birthday party day. So we throw a birthday party for absolutely everybody. So everyone gets a gift, everyone gets cake and balloons and special activities. We do a dance party for our Girls Week. We do what we call the princess party. So we have like over 200 prom dresses that have been donated over the years, and we have partners that come in to help with hair and nails and makeup. Honestly, one of the biggest stories from last year was as we were setting up for the princess party, we had a young person who came in with one of the biggest hair rat's nest on the back of their head. And she had kept it as kind of like a signal of shame for her. Like she didn't want to talk about it. And so they just brought her over to me and we did a little Mama Z love. And I'm like, you know what, we're just going to take, we wrapped it up and made it all look pretty and added flowers and stuff until we can find a stronger solution. And then I got to hand it to my staff because I was ready to call mom and be like, hey, this is what we discovered. How do you want us to handle it? Just as I was about to make the phone call, they came in with their combs and the bulk of the nest, and like we took care of her. Like, and that, I think that's the beauty of leadership, because this was a group of college students and teens that have gone through the program. They had been with me for 10 years and they were actively giving back to the next generation. And
the patience, the dedication it would take to do that, the love. And then it's not just a getting a knot out of someone's hair. That child is seeing all these people give, her love and say she's worth it. She's worth to have, to get this out and to spend time on and to invest in. That's so powerful. These kids need to know we believe in them and that they deserve that care.
And getting right back to that birthday party, this is going to be my 9th camp season. And over the course of 8 camp seasons, I think we've had 86 first-time birthdays out of the almost 1,000 young people that made it through the program.
Yeah. I mean, that's a core memory there for those kids. So if you want to help pay for a kid's birthday, or maybe a day of camp, or maybe a week of camp, you can donate. Just go to the Karith Family Recovery .org. Here, I have it on one of my things.
You
Here
got
we
like,
go.
look at how
Yeah,
impressive you are. That was great.
carithfamilyrecovery.org. I'm learning since last time we've done the show, girl. um, yeah, so yeah, please go there and donate if you are able to. I know times are tough, but those people out there that have all this extra money, if you want to help, or if you've got a little something to give, even if it's just $10, just know the money is going to be used to help these kids go to these camps and get what they need. The more money you can raise, the more camps you can have, the more kids you can provide this camp service to. Now, I am going to attend in April your next fundraising gala. Do you call it a gala?
Gala, like
Gala.
I use
Amazing
them
event.
interchangeably.
What'd you say?
Oh, I use them either
Oh,
changeably,
okay.
so it's
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
So last year I went to it. You gave me an outfit. We did a Project Next episode. It is my favorite outfit I've worn on Project Next. I mean, the two of us looked so adorable. You had
So
a Princess Bride theme
yes.
fundraiser for your beautiful nonprofit. You gave me your dress to wear. I
Hmm.
changed in the men's restroom on accident. And a guy walked into
I
the
did
end,
not know that.
and I was
That's
like,
amazing.
whoops. And then when I went to the girls, I was like, oh, the girls is way nicer than the guys in that anyway, yeah, that
You,
happened.
you work
So
with what you're given, and
I
sometimes
was
it
in a
works.
stall with locked. I would have been fine. I'm just saying I changed in the guys. So that was funny. So anyway, I changed. It was so much fun. You had like a troupe came and they acted out Princess Bride. It was so
Hmm.
funny. I still remember some of the jokes and stuff. And I was like, well, this is how you throw an event. Oh, it was beautiful. What is your theme for this time? And this will understand the interesting background you guys are seeing right now. So what's the theme? What's the day? Let's talk about it.
Well, giving a little background of our galas, we used to do very traditional events, and then we discovered like we're not a very traditional nonprofit. So why are we trying to fit ourselves into a mold that doesn't quite work with us? And I think also too, there are so many amazing groups that are doing amazing things, and there is a little bit of a how do you make each event a little different. So my vision started to become we're creating these immersive, beautiful experiences for our campers and our families and our adults in recovery. Let's start bringing that immersion to our fundraising events. So this year we're doing labyrinth theme. So we're having the masquerade for King Jareth. He's going to be in attendance. So we have an amazing Goblin King that will be present throughout the night. We have contact jugglers, we have fan dancers, and our goal is just to make it the most fun 80s, 90s dance party with an amazing soundtrack in the back to just like this one's going to be moving, grooving, so much
Is there
fun.
dancing?
Oh, we're going full dancing.
Because
Yes.
I love to dance, and it's so hard to go to an event that has dancing.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
We are
Okay,
there.
so I'm coming to this. I have a gown this time.
I'm excited to
My
see the
friend
gown.
Jama hooked me up with the gown. She's already altered it. I got to go back and try it on. So I have been planning because I knew like last year you were thinking of doing. You told me you were
We're
thinking of
bringing
doing
this on. So we're bringing
So this
costume
is April
competition.
17th in New
Mhm.
Albany. You can
Yep.
come down. You can be an indie watching this, and you can come down. It starts at 6:30, right? And
About 6:30, 7 o'clock. Yep.
and then you need to get tickets you can go to Karith Family Recovery, their website, and click on it to order tickets.
Mhm.
About how many tickets do you have available?
Currently, we're still at the very beginnings of the
You
sale.
just
So
started to open it, so you've got tickets. So let's do it. I got to get my tickets still. I'm going to see if I'm coming alone or I'm going to bring somebody. That's what stopped me from getting my ticket so far. I'm going to see if Chris wants to go with me, but then we got to get babysitting, or if I'm just going to come and hang out with you and
bring
our
the kids.
friends.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, either one. And then we'll definitely need to do a little show like we did last time from there in our outfits.
Hmm.
That's fun. So we definitely got to do that again, even if it's just a short one. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. I have look at this picture. Okay, so Labyrinth.
Yes.
Love Labyrinth. The music. The dance party can just be the music from Labyrinth. I mean, the music is fantastic. Like voodoo, hoodoo, you do what I mean, I love the music. So the outfits from the Labyrinth movie are, look at this. This is
They're
the
going
like
to be on
ballroom
point.
scene,
Yeah.
right?
I
This is
want
the
everyone in their 80s, 90s, babe glory. One of the things we have been talking about for the night is that the Goblin King is going to be coming in without a chosen Sarah for the evening. So there could be an opportunity to, when we start playing As the World Falls Down, he may be choosing a new Sarah for the night.
this sounds so fun. Okay, I'm really excited about this.
Think Bridgerton Ball, and instead of the Queen choosing her diamond for the season, King Jareth is choosing the place for. And actually, I have a gift from the Goblin King that was just given to me, and
ooh, love it. I'm gonna have to rewatch the movie with my kids before I can get totally into it.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't realize when I was looking for pictures to show of the Labyrinth how poofy her ball gown was. That must have been quite interesting for her to wear. Look at those sleeves. And then her hair, you can't really tell it in this picture, but I was looking at other pictures. Her hair goes back so far. And yeah, so that must have been an interesting costume change for the days that they did that. So my outfit is not poofy, but it is a little bit. It's going to be like navy sparkly.
So you're kind of giving a female Jareth kind of like
Yeah.
vibe.
Yes. So yeah, I'm really excited to wear that outfit because as an adult, you don't get to dress up in super fancy outfits all that much anymore, So yeah, I'm very excited about this event. Yes. Okay. So you can get your tickets, come and join us. If you live far away, we'll do a little show about the event so you can see it. And it's at the Grand in New Albany, which is a really beautiful space. Both bathrooms, very nice. The girls one's better though. But yeah.
Girls is obviously so much better.
And I got to tell you, Susanna, I went to an event on Tuesday and there was like 140 people there, and we did a group musical chairs.
Yes.
And I won musical chairs.
Wow.
I just need to throw that out there. Apparently, I am really good at that game. I will sit on anybody and they know it. They sense it. They let me sit down.
I think people would question if I was the person sitting down on people. So they either like get really excited or just be like, ew, go away. Like, what are you doing?
I just went slow when there wasn't a chair. Or no, fast when there wasn't a chair, slow when there was a chair, and I always knew which chair I was going to sit in when the music came off. I don't know. I didn't know I had that in me. I hadn't played musical chairs since I was a kid, so that was like a fun game. You would have liked that event I was at. It was a lot of fun games. It was a Mardi Gras party.
I was at a trivia night. I was thrown into a trivia night, and I didn't think I was good at trivia, but they had a couple of questions that introduced Mr. Rogers and pirates and Winnie the Pooh, and that's what I cracked down on.
Like, I was going to say, those do sound like things you would know a lot about. Yeah. And then you have another event. If you guys like Churchill Downs, they have a program called Wednesday.
Yeah, this is actually a second initiative that I think Churchill Downs has done. This is a collaboration between Churchill Downs and the Community Foundation of Louisville. So 50 nonprofits in our community have been chosen, and we have a special QR code. You can get it through the website. So if you want to go to the Wednesday races, which I guess is the new locals race now, this is like,
Yeah, because Thursday, Thurby or whatever got too big now.
It's too big. We can't take over there. So now
this is the week of Derby.
This is the week of Derby.
So this is the Wednesday before the Derby on
Saturday.
We're
going to be at the track. So if you are a local or a not local and you want to get your tickets to go to the races on Wednesday, you have a special link on the website, and $5 from each ticket sale is going to go through that just through our own link. But there's a lot of other really amazing nonprofits that are going to be there as well. And there's going to be various games and prizes that we're all going to be representing for. There's some opportunities, even as much as, and I was telling you right before we started on here, there is a very strong chance that out of the 50 nonprofits, 20 of them are going to be chosen to go to the races and be representative for one of the gates of the actual Kentucky Derby. So if our horse assigned to our gate wins the Derby, we'll find out on that Wednesday. There's prizes for second, third, first. If we can get that first prize money, that's a whole week of camp that's paid for us. So like it would be a pretty big deal if we can get it. It'd be super awesome.
I wish I was like a, multimillionaire and I could just like meet people and be like, well, I'm gonna give you $100,000. Like I would, like Melinda Gates. Like
Yes.
Melinda Gates is out there meeting people and being like, oh, here's some of my money. Oh, now you get some of my money. I wish I could do that because I wish I could just pay for so many of your camps. But
Well, I mean, maybe there's somebody out there who has like 20 extra acres of farmland they're just not using right now.
and they were
You know,
like, let's have camp here.
we're going to give you an amazing tax credit. It's going to look so good on your resume. And then you get to hang out with me all summer. And it's just great. Like,
Yeah, anybody out there, you want to have camp on your extra land? It's like a beautiful farmland or whatever. Yeah. Meet Suzanna. She will talk to you.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just really proud of you. Running a nonprofit is hard. It's a lot of making the money, getting enough money so that you can do the good thing. And so you have to be really good at making the money. So I think you do a really good job. I'm really proud of you, my friend. I know that you fill out these grants, you fill out these applications to try to get on stuff, to get, to get awards, to get recognized, to get a grant for money for things. And you host this beautiful ball every year. And, so I just want to say I'm really proud of you. And I'm really thankful for you. If I'm having a hard day, I can just think, well, look at what you're doing with these kids. And let's help you help more kids. And Tony Hostetler from Hoosier Action, right?
Yes.
He's the Care Not Cuffs chapter of Hoosier Action. He just came over today for coffee. It was so nice, and I'm going to do a show with him next week, and I'm going to hopefully do like some really cool stuff with him. And the amount of humans in our small community impacted by addiction is so many. And then if they've been arrested, their life is so hard because it's really hard to get a job or to get an apartment. Just basic things that are hard anyway if you aren't coming from making a mistake and getting addicted. It's so immense, and he fights every day because he has so many people that he loves that are suffering. And you do the same thing, but it's the children. You are seeing the children, you're seeing horrible things happen to them because of our community and the bad things that happen. And you are fighting every day to raise as much money as you can to save as many as possible. And I'm just really thankful for you. I'm lucky to be your friend, girl. Can you share with us a story of some of these kids? How long have you been the director, the person in charge of this?
Well, I am actually the founding director. So this
Founding director. Okay.
This is my complete baby. Like I have been the executive director role for a little over 10 years now.
Wow.
And now we're stepping into this is our 9th summer camp season that we are about to step into. Next year is going to be our 10th anniversary. It's so very exciting. I love it. There's so many amazing stories. I am so honored that I get to be a story keeper for our community because it is making the invisible visible. And I have the pleasure of being I like to call myself an imaginary friend because it takes somebody to imagine the world can be better.
I love that.
And I think that's the joy I get to be. So, probably one of the more difficult stories. I remember a few years ago, we had a young man. He actually was there the day his father overdosed.
Oh.
And he actually gave his father Narcan and did not come through. He was actually there with his body for a couple of hours until he was found. and he was probably like 3 or 4 years old at the time. And his guardians, they weren't sure if, like, they had tried everything. They weren't sure if it was going to be a good fit or what works and what different works. And I'm like, all we can do is show up and just run him through. So we have all of these steps throughout the week. We have the birthday party, but Thursday, Friday is usually
And
the
how
day.
old is he at the camp?
He was 5. He was
He's
about
5.
5 or
Okay, sorry, keep going.
so he was itty bitty. So this was like a year and a half after this incident took place. So he was, we're still processing because, like, usually itty bitties.
He's barely old enough to figure it out what happened. Yeah.
And I think that's also like a little side note, rabbit trail, is that when crisis happens, usually it's our young people that will take the longest to process their experience, because they'll usually hold back until they know that everyone else around them is okay. So it's interesting too, because you can have an experience 3 years down the road where they're acting more or less in a neutral environment, and then suddenly they're fluctuating up and down, and they're like, we don't know what happened. And I'm like, is it the 3 year mark? Yeah.
Wow. That's a
There.
good statistic to know, around 3 years of the
Around
trauma
3 years
event.
is the most consistent timeline we see. So for this young guy, we get into our leave it behind wall, which is a space where we celebrated you because we want to experience the good things, but the wall is a place where we can talk about the hard things and have an opportunity to leave it behind. And we use the safety of camp to get them to the wall. So this little guy, it was a small camp group that year, but we had our other group of itty bitties, and we talked about pets, like maybe some pets that some of our kiddos had lost. And, of course, we were talking about, like, this person got arrested and got put away, or grandma and grandpa are no longer around, or even like fights within the family. They don't understand why this person or that person is missing. So this little guy comes in and he shares a couple of things, and you can just tell he's revving the engine. But then he picks up 2 rocks, and he goes, like, okay, he talks about his dad, and he's like, I want to celebrate my dad because I do miss him and I care for him, and I wish he knew that I still loved him, and I hope he's proud of me. And then he picks up the rock, and then he goes, I don't know if this is right, but I want to forgive the gentleman that sold my dad the drug, because I know it was the drug that killed him and he didn't kill him. I think it was the drug that killed him. I'm like, okay, yes. Like, and that was just one of those powerful moments. So we've been in a relationship with him for a couple more years, and he's doing great. Like, he's like getting slow and steady, and he's just building his best life. But it's those little pocket moments that just make things like worth it.
I just want to shine a light too on how strong of a person you are, because what you're dealing with is hard, and not all of these kids have happy endings. Mm-hmm. And I just want to acknowledge that doesn't mean you say no to them, and that doesn't mean you don't put the work and love and the care, and you hope that all of them turn out and have good lives. But life is so hard. Life is so hard without having this thing that makes it harder for them. So I know you some. We've talked some. I would love to talk to you more, but we're both busy trying to help the state and, doing our thing. And I know that you're really strong. You're like incredibly able to handle hard things. You're learning about kids in all kinds of abusive situations. And most regular people don't want to know about it. They don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to sit in it and then try to make it better. And you are doing all those things. And I just want to acknowledge it about you, because not everybody is able to do that. I don't know how great. I don't know. I don't think I could do it as well as you. I would try. But like, you're so strong at that, at helping these kids with their really tough things. And I know that sometimes you have bad days, because sometimes those kids have bad days. So I just want to thank you again for doing what you're doing. I think it's incredibly beautiful and hopeful. And I hope that people are listening that can, give $10, give $20, give a day, help a day of camp. I know you break it down into how much money helps and for each thing. And I think if you were like so much money for a birthday party, how much is it for a birthday party? I can't
So
remember.
most of our gifts, so like, if you want to give funding for like a hygiene packet, or because they get like a full backpack with all of their supplies for the week and then hopefully a little bit more, that's about 35. A birthday present is also around $35 because we want to give them something that has
Like a
some,
nice gift.
it needs to have some value, because like we want this to
You don't
be,
want a cheap dollar gift. You want to give them something that they can remember and that shows how much like how important they are. Like
yes.
they need to know that they're loved. And I wonder if you ever like mention how many people gave money to help them because they care about the kids. I wonder if you ever acknowledge like a lot of people donated money because they care about you. You matter. Because I know they don't hear that enough. They don't hear how much they matter.
Well, I think that's one of the exciting exercises as part of our closing down of camp is, usually our kids actually have a chance to write out thank you notes. So,
That's
and
nice.
give that. So if somebody does donate and they give, they actually get a photo of the camper that they helped sponsor, as
That's
well as
nice.
one of their notes. And no, it's just like we said. It's just like we understand you've already paid a cost. Somebody else wanted to share the love, share the support. So it's really fun when we do get those grants and we can hand those thank you cards to like, Caesar Foundation or Southern Indiana Health and be like, these are your babies. Like, here you go. These are the young people that like you. One of the stats I love using, it's like it costs about $700 to $800 to send a child to camp. And we are kind of like expansive because we're taking care of a lot of
Yeah.
unique needs that not everyone else is doing. Not everyone has a costume budget for their camp program. Um, but it's about $18,000 to lock somebody up for a year. So if you're looking at the actual cost of like what the long time expansion is and the benefit, that's a totally different storyline that you're dealing with. And you're talking about transforming a family, an individual's life. You're talking about community transformation when kids are not lost on the street and they're going somewhere for the summer. They're causing less chaos and there's less crime.
You're
Just not,
giving a break to these people that are probably mentally drained, taking care of the kids because there's all this
absolutely.
trauma of all the impact, the negative impact from what happened. Yeah, whenever you say, 8 to 10 people are impacted negatively by that, I wonder how many are impacted positively by the camp experience because it's not just the kid.
Yeah, and if you're out there and you're a grandparent, you're a guardian, you're doing this like, you are the gatekeeper of your family trying to hold it together. Like, thank you for what you're doing. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing. There is no shame and there's no stigma in asking for help if you just need those little breaks, those little pauses, because we know, like, when you lose someone to like a death or a tragedy, like a tragic injury, the community comes together. Like, there is such a stigma that when something like this happens, where you lose someone to addiction or you lose someone to being arrested or committed a crime and they go away, it is a scarlet letter, and we have to start breaking these stigmas so more
I
people are
have
able
friends.
to
I
help.
talked to a friend yesterday that's on her own recovery journey, and she is a beautiful person, and she is a great
Mm-hmm.
parent, and she has to deal with the guilt of what happened while she was addicted. And I'm so proud of her. And these are real human beings. These children are real children. We need to stop shaming and guilting and I know we do it because we don't want to feel the pain of what it actually does. Like we don't want to feel the hurt, so we'd rather judge them. That's a
Yeah,
safer place for us. But we really need to crack open our hearts and look at the reality and let's face it head on and help and that's what you do.
yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me. I will have you on again. And thanks for being such an expert on helping kids with their trauma. I really like all the tips that you give. I think even if a kid doesn't necessarily have trauma, they have hard stuff in their life, and these tips can be applied to just kids in general, and even adults, like interact in the play with the kids and model that way and teach them mindfulness in different ways instead of just the sit down with a notepad and asking them questions. There's more and better ways to do this with children. Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you. I hope to see you guys if you live close by at the, what are you calling it? The Goblin King Ball.
Mm-hmm.
The Goblin King Ball, April
We're
17th.
We're going to dance magic dance. It's going to be great.
I can't wait to see your outfit.
I'm
You look
trying.
so good with fairy ears. You really have the personality and the beautiful face and everything to pull off your character things. It's really cute.
Again, it's just like, I love just dressing up, and if it brings joy to somebody and if we can help one person every day, that's all I can ask for.
Oh, you dressing up brings joy to me every time.
Yay.
So thank you for that. Yeah, thanks for all the good that you're putting into the world, my friend. I'm proud of you. I love you. And I love also you've helped connect me to some really good people. Through what, yeah. So we got this community. There's all these people trying to help. We all just got to get connected and work together. And, you're doing your thing. Hey, I'm doing my media thing. Come on here. We all just connect and work and try to make this place better. And it's all about community. Oh, yeah. One more thing before we get off. Hey Elmer has a store, Project Next Store, and you just go to heyelmer.com/Project Next, and you can get a shirt, a hoodie, a trucker hat, a dad hat, a magnet, a sticker. I'm trying to think. I know there's something else I forgot. You can get all kinds of Project Next merch, and then the back of it says all about community, and then unity is highlighted.
Yeah.
So that is our slogan, because it's all about community. If we invest in community, our lives will be better. The more of us that invest, the more it's going to be better. And that's what Project Next is about. So, Lord, is your little beautiful thing that you do with your kids in your camp really align with that? So, yeah. So visit the store. Oh, Tony bought a shirt today.
Okay.
He said he bought a purple one. And
Let's
I'm
go.
like, oh, will you please wear that? Because Tony is a do-gooder. He is out there causing some good trouble. And I'm like, oh, if you wear that shirt, that means something. So anyway.
We're all just trying to be chaos coordinators. We're just fun people, just trying to do fun, good things. Like, let's go play. Let's do it.
Yeah, I need to do that more in my life when I'm stressed out. I'm going to call you and be like, I'm stressed about this situation. Make it playful, Suzanna.
We're going to go. It's just like, we'll turn anything into a fun chaos time.
Make it more fun. Make it musical chairs. Mm-hmm. All right, everybody, you have a wonderful day. Please share the show, especially if you know someone impacted with addiction or kids in trauma, anything. Share it with them if you think it might help them, and just have a wonderful day. I will be back. I think my next show is maybe Tuesday. So I'll be back on Tuesday, and have a great weekend, and love you guys. Bye, everybody. Bye, Suzanna. Thank you, girl. You are amazing.